Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Untitled Sickcos project. Totally not scrounged up last minute because we had a couple of people gone. I am, of course, Bears fan, and alongside with my two co-hosts for today, and I got two guests that we'll get to in a moment. Who's who?
Hello, I am the MaskedAura, and I've returned to my mental crippling addiction of playing Heroes of the Storm. Please help me.
Yes, hello, I am Nickman. Um, I don't really have much to say, which is pretty on brand for me.
And of course, as I said, we have two special guests. The first one was a person that I contacted on Twitter, begging him to come on last moment. And please introduce yourself.
What's up? My name is Valente, and I'm here so I don't get fined.
Awesome. Uh, and on the other hand, we have a guy that I asked earlier, and he suddenly got back to me. He's sad and a Yankees fan.
Tis true, it's Juggerbear. And every single day the Yankees rep out my heart.
It's just that time of year,
just like that,
though.
welcome to the Untitled Sickos project. Now, I forgot to tell you guys, but every episode we traditionally open up with a welcome mat. But it's kind of difficult since we have two guests, because normally we would give
No,
guests a
it's
welcome mat.
whatever we want it to be, and there's not really. I don't have one yet. I thought I had one.
I have one. I have one today.
Oh, shoot.
So
All right.
today I was watching Watch Mojo. First mistake one. Okay, but mistake number two is that they had a top 20 Coldplay songs video, and I decided might as well. Let's give it a watch. So my question is basically this: what is your favorite Coldplay song? Because we'll have this wrap around to my point in a bit.
I love how you're asking us this because of a Watch Mojo video.
Watch Mojo, what the hell?
But Valente, what's your favorite Coldplay song if you have one?
Probably Viva La Vida, the most recognizable one. At least the first one that
Reasonable.
comes to mind.
Reasonable. What about you, Juggerbear?
Viva La Vida is the only one I remember, to be honest. I don't listen to much Coldplay, as you know.
That's reasonable. Luke.
Yo, how about Warm Play, am I right? I mean, honestly,
What?
in honor of the Hololive collab, I will instead say what is my favorite song done by the representative, and it is Suisei's Stellar Stellar. There you go.
And Nickman, what's your favorite Coldplay song?
I mean, in terms of there's definitely songs I really like off of Viva La Vida in terms of my favorite ones, but I feel like in terms of just, Coldplay in general, in terms of, what's really lasted the longest for them in terms of, how people view them, I definitely think Viva La Vida has definitely had the most impact for them. So, yeah, that's always a really good choice to have in terms of, honestly, their best song.
Okay, so for the general consensus, it's Viva La Vida. For me, since I'm a more Coldplay nerd, I would say something like Politic or Clocks. But whatever. The point is, Viva La Vida was fifth, and their first place song was Fix You. Keep in mind, Fix You is a relatively popular song, and I'm not saying that it's bad. But if you're just going to make this list and put Fix You, probably one of the weaker songs of their most popular ones, at number one, that's just crazy because they have so many better popular songs. Like Magic is great, Clocks is great, The Scientist is great. I hate Yellow, but everyone seems to love Yellow. It's just I know I shouldn't care much about a terrible Watch Mojo list, but I swear to God, how do you mess up the bare minimum? I wouldn't even have hated if you just put like, I don't know, like Viva La Vida, because you know what, it's popular, granted everyone's heard of it. Is it probably their best song? You can give it a case, but I am not seeing a single person on this planet say Fix You by Coldplay is the best song by them. Hands down, it is not. They have made better songs than that.
Listen, the thing I most remember Fix You for is someone made a NBA mixtape of Brandon Knight and all his unfortunate moments, and they had Fix You playing in the background. That's what I most remember it for.
Whoa.
I'm not even a
But,
Coldplay fan. I concur.
But yeah, all of this is to say, watch Mojo, do better. I expect more from you, which is a statement I shouldn't be saying.
Yeah, the funny thing is,
Anywho-
I will say this to close it off. The funny thing is, I think the reason they didn't put Viva La Vida at #1 is because they had another top 10 Coldplay songs video like a decade ago, and I'm pretty sure they put that #1 on there. So knowing Watch Mojo's logic, their logic is basically, well, we gotta keep every video different. Okay, well, Viva La Vida, we're sorry, we can't put you at #1 now.
Anywho, we are now doing the NFC South, and we have two representatives of the NFC South, both of them being Saints fans, and both of them learning to love Derek Carr.
Learning is a strong word along with love. More like
Yeah.
tolerate.
Yeah. I'm learning to tolerate. Yeah. I've went
Also-
to bat a few times, but not loving him.
I mean,
Also too, I love how Valente's like profile picture is just someone eating a hot dog, and every time it talks, it's just I see someone devouring a glizzy in the like middle of my screen, and I just think that's kind of funny.
That's
But,
my friend Caleb.
Shout outs to Caleb. But we'll do shilling at the end. But first, we'll have the Saints be last because it doesn't make sense to have you guys talk about your favorite teams first. Let's talk about the biggest disappointment known to man, the Carolina Panthers.
ooh boy. I mean,
It can't be worse than last season, right?
I feel like it's gonna be worse than last season, or kind of
You
the
never
same.
know. Never know with David Tepper at the home.
Yeah, but don't they at least have their first round pick this year?
Yes,
Yes,
they do.
but they won't have their
Yeah.
second, which
I mean,
I-
still, if they win Tankful again.
then
at
you
least
give
don't have
you
to
give
go
the
to
Bears a high second round pick.
Yeah, I'm
Who
not
cares?
complaining.
I know, Nick's not gonna complain.
But like, I
Next-
mean, all in all, the Panthers, like, they definitely improved from last year. But like, let's be honest, we've all seen what owning, like, owners meddling in football operations does to a team. You can have the stacked roster in the world, but as soon as you have ownership meddling in the team, i.e., Michael Jordan with the Washington Wizards, it doesn't end well. And I'll say this too. Even though I think they got a really nice trade with Deontay Johnson, I don't even remember what they sent for him. But like, I don't think a single good trade would push you from like, you know, being a complete laughingstock of the NFL to like, you know, someone that might not be a little pissy pants boy on Thursday Night Football this year.
I mean, there's two ways how I look at the Panthers. Yes, you look at one way how there's no way in hell that it's gonna get better, but then I look at David Tepper, right, and I saw something kind of haunting this week, and the thing that I saw haunting was he asked his wife about the draft picks. I'm sorry, what? You're
Honey,
asking.
honey.
your wife for picks. And not to mention there's that fiasco where where he showed up to the bar confronting a bar owner over a sign that he put out. It's just, dude, he's become the new Dan Snyder. Like, I know it's insane to say that, but the dude is the new Dan Snyder.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with the Panthers, like, on one hand, I have a lot to thank for them because they've really helped bankroll the Bears this season. They have really helped us with that. However, in terms of the really bad with this team right now, like, what really concerns me is the fact that this past offseason, they saw how bad the previous, front office tenure went for the Panthers. It's like, okay, this was a disaster. We're bringing someone new in to hopefully improve things. So, who do they bring in for the Panthers in terms of making their new president? They just hired within. For their new president, the Panthers hired within from the front office that has literally, like, basically made them one of the biggest laughing stocks in sports. And obviously, this clearly has David Tepper written all over it. It's just, I feel like the front office hire where they just went, just brought guys within, it's like, okay, that's a really bad sign that this team isn't going to be changing. And I will say, I do like the Dave Canellis hire. I think that's a good hire. I think expectations should be low enough for him to at least get 2 seasons, because looking back at it, I think the worst thing that could happen to Frank Reich last season, which, don't get me wrong, Reich was terrible for the Panthers last year, but the worst thing that I think really could have happened to him is just how good of a job Steve Wilkes did to end 2022. The fact that he got like a 6-6 record out of a pretty bad Panthers team. So there was that expectation for Frank, and obviously didn't come close to meeting that. So now you have Dave Canellis, which is like, as long as, I think as long as the Panthers can get more than 2 wins this season, Canellis should hopefully be fine. Hopefully, I say hopefully, because you never know with David Tepper.
I view it like this, the Canals hire. I view it like a Matt Eberflus situation where you kind of know what you're going into this year, where the team's probably going to be very bad. So as long as you just don't go 0-17, you'll be able to, do something. But then again, the Bears have shown that they can actually change their team. The Panthers, they went from a bad owner to a bad owner. So genuinely, like, other than like ownership issues, like, there's not really much to talk about when it comes to this team, because, like, what are you gonna say about Bryce Young? He literally is in a rookie season still. You can't tell me that he played a NFL season last year with the team that he got sent out with.
I mean, Bryce Young's already, in my mind, he's a bust, and it's not even his fault. And I hate saying that, but the data backs it up. Whenever you change your coach, when you draft a rookie quarterback, it never works out.
I mean, what was revealing to me about Bryce isn't really about Bryce Young, but the fact that, there were those reports, like, mid-season when the Panthers were at their absolute worst that, like, David Tepper was going public about the fact that they made the wrong pick. And it's just like, that's the, you have a rookie quarterback that's badly struggling, with expectations of obviously being the number 1 pick, and it's just like, I'm not a wise man, but I don't think that's going to help things improve.
Not to mention, too, like, I think this goes beyond a, Bryce Young is a bad quarterback thing, because if you put C.J. Stroud on that team, you get pretty much the same result, at least in my eyes.
I mean, the exact same result, but I would say, like, still, first overall pick, local talent.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe like 4 wins.
Yeah,
I
it'd
think
still be
that's
like
so-
it'd still be an awful season, but like
Yeah. Just
I mean, that's 100% improvement from their current record. So
I mean, yeah, I mean, as long as you don't go a dreaded 0-17, it's not the worst possible outcome.
It's progress, but I don't expect them to make, you know, a ton of progress this year.
I think the funniest thing about them is the only 2 wins they got were against playoff teams. Like,
wow.
I mean, I don't think they have any number one talent. I mean, Thielen's there as your veteran presence guy, and he's somebody that's not going to get you like 1,400 yards receiving in a season. He's probably going to get you more like 800, 700 yards. He's not young and in his prime anymore. He's still, you know, of quality to have, but if you're expecting more, I don't think you're gonna get it.
Also, too, I think like their draft pick this year, it just screamed like, "Oh, we're trying to get home guys, so that way we can get fans to come to the stands." Because, legitimately, why was Xavier Legette being chosen over all these other wide receivers? I'm not saying that he isn't talented, but he is not like he is like a late second round kind of guy, not a guy that you trade up for in the first round. It screamed something of we're desperate to get someone close to home so that way we can market him to the team.
well, you know, at the very least, it can't be as bad as the last time David Tepper did something relating South Carolina.
I mean, he did ask someone like his wife, "What do you think?"
He's looking for approval, man. Some people just need approval from their wives.
By the way, fun fact, on their roster, Rashad Penny is on their running backs roster. Just wanted to point that out.
Oh, Penny, you are. I like Rashad Penny, you know. But the guy just got hurt. Injuries again. Derail everything.
Yeah.
It's
Also, speaking of you know, like, you know, going for like South Carolina guys, don't forget Jadeveon Clowney's on the roster too.
Oh boy.
Mr. Ball don't lie himself. But, I mean, the issue is about the Panthers, like, there isn't, like, much to talk about them that hasn't really been rehashed, and I think that's just the saddest part. Because if they were interestingly bad, then, like, we could all at least poke fun and, like, you know, laugh at them, but, like, they're like the White Sox right now. There's, like, they're genuinely one of the most saddest organizations to like be set out to play a game, and that's just, these are franchises that deserve so much better than that. Granted, I'm not a White Sox fan, but still, it's but like still, there's a lot of similarities between the two. Inept owner, potential future franchise guy might be traded away and become completely terrible afterwards. They are basically screwed over by the draft. One of the worst records in their respective sports. And I will now produce my theory. David Tepper is actually not David Tepper. He is actually being mind controlled by the true owner. The owner of the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago White Sox.
Sucks. White sucks.
Harry Reinsdorf is actually David Tepper in robot form. If you take apart David Tepper's skull, you will see a little mini Jerry Reinsdorf.
Have we ever seen them in the same room together?
Oh shit, you're right.
We haven't.
We have not seen him in the same. Holy shit! Dude, we're on to something. I think we're on to something, you know?
We gotta get this shit to CNN.
Listen, listen. If this is actually, listen, if there's any shot, if this is true, then I like to say, his ownership of the Panthers is the best thing Jerry has done for the city of Chicago in over 2 decades.
That is, I mean, that is so true.
Nah, hold up. I'm not even from Chicago. I don't even know a lot about the Bulls or the White Sox.
Oh, dude, the White Sox, they had a competitive team for 1 year. They've been mostly an irrelevant franchise for, you know, most of their existence, right? And they have finally built a competitive team after all these years of being in the basement, right? So after all these years of being in the basement, right? So after all these years of being in the basement, they're finally relevant for, I think, what, they made the playoffs for 1 season in the 2020 year? They were good.
2021.
Also in 2021? So they made the playoffs twice, and then that was it.
What they should have done is just hit Control C, Control V on what the Orioles were doing and just draft the whitest white boys you know.
Well, I mean, the problem with the White Sox is that they can't develop anybody outside the first round. That's been their biggest problem.
Also, too, to continue my conspiracy theory, Tim Anderson is actually Cam Newton. Think about it.
No. As funny as Tim Anderson being just bad, it's like, it's not even a ha-ha bad. Like, what? Like, Tim Anderson fell off
So
the
was Cam
map.
Newton in his last years as a Panther. It wasn't even ha-ha bad. It was just a guy who couldn't throw the football anymore because his arm was made of paper mache.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
anywho, regarding the Jerry Reinsdorf to David Tepper theory, Panthers pretty bad. Give your
Yeah.
final thoughts.
Honestly, I think they're gonna. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give their floor 2 wins.
And their ceiling?
2 win. No, ceiling's gonna be like 7. As funny as it be, their ceiling's like 7.
Juggerbear?
I mean, dude, I think that their ceiling is probably going to be maybe floating around 500 if they manage to find some luck. But otherwise, that tank can drive as gloriously down as it wants to go. I'm rooting for 0-17 for the memes, but realistically, it's probably about 2 to 3 wins.
Valente?
I'm gonna say their floor is probably 2 wins, and their ceiling is maybe 6 or 7. And I like the Dave Canales hire for them because I think automatically it helps Bryce Young out because Luke, I don't know if you know, but I don't know if you're into the coordinators like that, but he was the quarterbacks coach for Seattle in 2022. So he was
Yeah, Gino had a good, like, Gino had a good statistical year, yeah.
He was a vital part of Gino's career revival, and same with Baker.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at what we already know about him and the quarterbacks he's been with, is he's pretty good with quarterbacks. So, I mean, I think I'm going to go for Bryce. For the rest of the team, though, I don't know. So, I'm going to say 6 wins at max. Probably 2 wins minimum. Definitely picking first again, though.
I need a
Nickman.
lot of help.
Yeah, for the Panthers, I just feel like in terms of like the floor, like for the love of God, you guys cannot be worse than last season. Like you could be equally as bad, but you cannot be worse. If you are somehow worse than last season, then good lord, someone send you guys a freaking prayer. But yeah, I floor for the Panthers. I'm going 2 wins, and ceiling. I feel like the Panthers were to really, have all these guys start to develop out of nowhere and, put some more, pieces together, or, at least Bryce Young to work with, then I could see a ceiling of like 6 wins or so.
For me, I think if a worst case scenario happens, I think they can be worse than last season. I think their worst is 1-16. I think their peak is probably 7-10. But to kind of go off what Valente said real quick, I did want to say, I got an exact image in my head where like David Canales is like the self-revive of like NFL quarterbacks. So like, you know how you're starting out in Keto Der Toten, and like you always have that quick revive machine right there. If we had to like compare him to a perk in Call of Duty Zombies, I'm saying Dave Canales is the quick revive perk. And thankfully, it goes away after 3 times on single player. So technically, Bryce Young could possibly still be in the clear to be saved. But as far as we're concerned, David Tepper is not buying any of the doors, and he's spinning for the ray gun. So like, I don't know, man. Sucks to suck. Moving on. Moving on, we have 3 interesting teams. First one that we'll go over is the Bakersville Tampa Bay Baker Buccaneers, and just what season for them last year. Like, Baker has a career now again, now that Cleveland isn't there to ruin him.
Incredible! Here's the thing. I am 50-50 on Baker. Could it be good? Yeah. Could it be one of those, you got paid, sometimes you just need to take us, back, back seat. Could it be one of those backseating years? Yeah. I mean, it's hard to find, because I want Baker to succeed. 100%, I want Baker to succeed.
Something I will say this, and we have 2 NFC South fans to vouch for me, but I think for the most part, a lot of the NFC South teams are like rooting for Baker, even though they're like Tampa's quarterback. And I think that just says a lot about Cleveland and what Baker's been through than it says about Tampa more than anything else. Like, you two... I mean, it's just... It's really weird to see Baker have a career renaissance, even though he's not really that far into his career. He got drafted in 2018, and like he's like year 7 into it, and we're saying that he has a career renaissance. That's crazy to think.
Well, because like keep in mind, Baker Mayfield, after it really felt like his last chance came from the Rams, right? Where if he felt like, you're going to blow this opportunity, because it feels like, you blow this opportunity, that's it. And because it got to that point where, hey, this is it, I felt like his performance in the Rams, like, okay, that's it. He's going to be a backup. Bucks took a chance on him, but it was like a half-hearted chance. Like, it didn't felt like it was like a genuine, 100% chance that he got from the Buccaneers. It felt very half-baked, right? It
felt more like a QB competition more than a, hey, Baker, you're going to be the starter coming in. It's hey, man, we might start you, but I don't know. Kyle Trask looks really hot right now.
Kyle Trask ain't it. Kyle Trask wasn't it.
I don't know why that was ever considered.
It wasn't like you like the organizations like deep down inside, they can kind of know of, okay, is this our guy or is this not our guy, right?
Yeah.
Like they can kind of tell. But, long in before, he turns out Baker was the guy. And I'm really happy that it went that way, because, Baker goes from being dead to, now he's got an actual shot. But, again, can he do it again? I want to see him do it again. Because if he can't do it again, then...
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Baker is, like, it's great what he did, especially considering the lows of what he had to go through with, his last season with the Browns and his tenure with the Panthers. Like, the lows of those things, it was really tough to watch. So seeing what Baker did last season, that was really nice to see. And, I think he can do it again. I think he absolutely can, repeat that success.
But the thing is, though, does Mike Evans still have it? He's been
He's still getting 1,000 yards a season. Yes,
he still does. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's gonna be his 12th year in the NFL.
I know, but if he can
he's
still
a
keep
first ballot
producing,
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, oh no, don't get me wrong. Mike Evans is a first ballot Hall of Famer, 100%. But my concern is, once you're in that like 12th, 13th season, does he still have it? And we're gonna find out. And I feel like if Mike Evans still is the classic guy is gonna get you 1,000 yards every single game, I see him having a career akin to Larry Fitzgerald, where Fitzgerald was still producing even well into his last season, which was something that I never saw coming at all. Because normally, like, I see wide receivers, they've got like this great stretch, right? They got a great stretch, but usually like that 11th, 12th, 13th year, you see that significant decline where this player can't do it all on his own. And I don't see the Buccaneers having the guy who's number 2 on that roster. I don't see it yet.
I mean,
if he can be healthy, I think
question...
Godwin should be fine. If he's healthy, I think that's fine.
If he's healthy, but Chris Godwin hasn't been healthy for a while.
I know.
Yeah,
I think the main issue when it... Go ahead, Valente.
Honestly, until the Bucks prove that they have another option, Mike Evans is going to be that guy.
Yeah, and the thing is with the Bucks too, I think that they're very close to being a team that could probably make a sneaky Super Bowl run, because as long as you get hot at the right time, anyone can win the playoffs. Granted, it's a lot easier for other teams than others, but like anything can happen, and the Bucks are a team that can do that. Because we saw it in the playoffs. They almost beat Detroit. They completely obliterated the Eagles at home.
And to be fair, that Eagles team was busy imploding since about the 3-quarter mark of this season, I want to say.
Yeah.
Right, but still, that's a team with a very stacked roster. There's a lot of talent on the line, on the wide receiver, on the defensive line. So, to a point, yeah, I do understand that they were mid-imploding, but also at the same time, too, the Bucks did something that, no other team has ever done, and that's go into Lambeau and have a perfect passer rating. Like, the Bucks basically were a surgeon against the Packers, so I don't know. If I feel like there had to be, like, a mystery box team for the NFC, it has to be the Buccaneers. Because are you going to get the Buccaneers where Baker's playing like he was on the Panthers, or are you going to get the Buccaneers where it's, oh wow, would you look at that? They're beating teams like the Chiefs, like the Niners. So like it mostly depends on that. They're a true hot and cold team. What were you gonna say, Jugger?
No, it's just agreeing with you there.
But besides Baker, I do feel like there's one thing I do need to talk about, and that sneakily their secondary went from like one of the best into the league to like laughably bad. Like Carlton Davis was like pretty much an all-pro on that team, and Antoine Winfield Jr. was really good on that team. Where are they now? Didn't Antoine get traded to another team or something?
Carlton got traded to the Lions. For
Right,
a
there's
6th round
that.
pick.
Yeah, it's just
Just
they have a very weak defensive secondary, but
Hey, for the
I do
record,
think they
Winfield's
can
still on the
fix that.
team. He's still on the
Oh, he is?
Buccaneers.
Good.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Winfield's in there.
all in all, just the Buccaneers are just a very weird team. I don't really know much else to say other than to go off the Call of Duty references more. Please pull the ray gun instead of pulling the very terrible baby gun. I don't care. It's the worst
Not
gun in Call of
Hazel her,
Duty.
Hazel me.
Well, I'm praying they pull a teddy bear out of that mystery box and that shit goes
Oh,
to
yeah.
a different location.
Yeah,
4 players left.
but
Honestly?
I don't know. Go ahead.
So, for me, I totally agree with it's a 50-50 for the Bucks. You either get superstar Baker Mayfield or you get Panthers Baker Mayfield. But the one thing that sticks out to me the most is the coaching changes for the offense, right? And I'm a Louisville fan, so I'm about to hate like crazy. Their new offensive coordinator, his name's Liam Cohen. And last season, he was the offensive coordinator for Kentucky. Offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And he was the quarterbacks coach for one of the worst quarterbacks in college football, and Devin Leary. And
Ouch.
also, I believe that Kentucky was not good statistically on offense, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I don't remember them being that really good on offense last year because I know they had some really rough games.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't think Kentucky's offense is really that good, especially under him. And then even before that, that's college. The year before, he was a offensive coordinator for the Rams. And that was the year that the Rams imploded offensively. And yeah, I know Matthew Stafford was injured for most of that year, but even when he was there, still wasn't good. So offensively, it is completely up to how that scheme is ran. If they can execute it well, because I think Todd Bowles is a defensive coach, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And all respect to Todd Bowles, he's made the playoffs twice, but with barely being over 500 and being under 500. So again, it's 50-50. I don't know if I don't know if the Bucks are gonna be that good again this year because the luck's gonna run out eventually.
True. I don't know. Maybe Todd Bowles is just a really good defensive coordinator, and he's had a lot of talent around him to really hide the fact that he was just a really good DC. But all in all, if I had to give my predictions for this team, I feel like they could either be 12-5, or they could very well be 5-12. Like I said, they could either be very up or very, very down. Jugger.
I mean, like y'all are saying, it's boom or bust for them. It seems to be the way they've played for for at least the past couple years without Brady. So, I mean, it also just depends on how weak the NFC South is, though. Which, I mean, we're still gonna have to get to the Falcons and the Saints, though. but again, they could still be a fairly middling team. But middling can win you the play, at least not win you the division.
I'm gonna go. I think their floor is 6. Their ceiling's 9. I'm not super sold on the. I'm not super sold on the Bucks. But I'm very happy that both Baker and Mike Evans got paid. That is always a W.
Nickman.
Yeah, so like I think at their absolute worst, like Tampa's worst, like I could see them being like a 6 or even a 5-win team if things really go down the tubes for them. But in terms of like, you know, if things really go well for them, I could see Tampa Bay turning out to be like an 11-win team. So yeah, I mean we've made that point very clear that they're a boom and bust, they're a boom or bust team for sure.
Valente.
Okay, for the floor, I'll say 5 wins. I mean, I feel like that's what everyone says every year for the Bucks. You know, oh, they're gonna win 5 games. Their roster isn't good enough to win more than 5 games, but we've seen they can win with 5 games. It's just the way the division is. So I'm gonna say their floor is 5 wins, and their ceiling is 11. I'll go with 11. If everyone else goes to crap, they could sweep the division, win some of their conference games. I'll say 11.
All right, and it's now time for Mr. Kirk Thuggins himself, the Atlanta Falcons.
Allow
which...
me to defend the first round draft pick from the Atlanta.
Yeah, let the
Falcons.
Washington fan defend Michael Penix Jr.
Let the Washington fan defend this pick. Michael Penix was not gonna make it to the second round. Raiders if he went to 15, he would have been taken by the Raiders. If he went to 19, he would have been taken by the Rams. 100%. Right? Like, you gotta understand how when drafting works, right? I'm pretty sure they wanted to trade down, but couldn't trade down. And
I don't think they ever tried.
I don't think they wanted to, I think they didn't try, or you could say that they didn't want to risk it.
You have to remember, there was the fact that, you know, the Bears called the Falcons about, hey, you know, like, you know, hey, we could move up, you know, we could do a trade together, and the Falcons declined it. They didn't want to trade down.
I think regardless, even if you traded down, that's still the wrong pick. Because
it's still, many will say it's the wrong pick, but I can understand it in this unique sense of why they picked him. I get it. I still think I disagree with it. I still think the thing I regret the most is not betting Spencer that Penix was going to go in the first round, in the top 10, instead of going to the Vikings. Because if that had happened, Spencer would have had to watch 100 hours of VTubers. And I think it's a massive W for me.
Listen,
But
my thing
it's
with the Falcons is not the fact that they took a quarterback at number 8. I could understand like taking someone like JJ McCarthy. My issue is you took a quarterback and you're going to be sitting him for multiple years, which sounds like the plan. So when you have him finally start a game, Michael Penix Jr. is going to be 26, and you spend a top 10 pick on that.
yeah.
And I can agree,
Here's
you don't
another
spend a
thing,
top
so-
10 pick on a quarterback that's not going to start year 1.
Yeah.
I can
understand.
agree
Yeah.
to that.
You have glaring needs, right? So,
Like,
in my opinion, I would say that they need corner. To be honest, I don't think
they needed Dallas Turner.
they needed an edge rusher. They needed because they got Zach Harrison this draft class, right? Or was that last draft class?
I think last draft class.
Okay. Yeah, you could have taken Dallas Turner. You could have taken Latu. You could have taken another corner. I don't know who was the better corner, if it was Kenyon or Cooper, but you could have taken a corner. Because personally, if I'm being honest, I don't think AJ Terrell's that guy anymore. I don't think he ever was. And their secondary was, despite having some really good talent in the secondary, that secondary was very forgettable. I just don't understand why you paid Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed just to already draft his replacement. And by the way, we all know that Kirk doesn't like that.
No, Kirk hated
yeah.
that. But
Oh yeah.
I think because it gives you two things. You're putting so much pressure on Kirk to win now. Like, to win now rather than, rather than later. I feel, especially with Kirk Cousins, he's kind of the same ceiling that Derek Carr has, where he's going to need a lot of pieces to really make it all work. Now, he does have that in Atlanta. He's got a bunch of young players that really need a guy to unlock their full potential at the NFL level. The $1 million question is Kirk Cousins going to unlock that, or is Penix going to unlock that? And when do you just give up on it? Because they've also...
First off, I want to say, I view Kirk Cousins less of a Derek Carr-like quarterback and more of like a Dak Prescott. That's the kind of level I view him in. I view him more like Dak than...
I would say he's a more talented version of Derek Carr, but he still needs his guy.
Yeah.
Like, I think right now, personally, I think the Falcons do have a really good offensive roster. But
The thing is, what
Oh, we're getting lagging Taegan.
the youth that they have right now, they're setting Kirk Cousins up to fail. Like,
I don't think they're setting up Kirk Cousins to fail, because
I
Kirk
think-
Cousins can't, like, Drake London's amazing. They got Tyler Algier and like a two-punch system at running back. You have
I would say.
you
I
have a
think
Drake
tight
is not
end that literally
amazing.
needs a quarterback and an
let's be
offensive coordinator to unlock their potential.
I'm just gonna
let's
be
be
honest.
honest here. Can I say first?
Yeah,
Don't
worry.
worry.
Yeah.
The Falcons have a great tight end and a great running back, but they have a above average wide receiver core. Drake London, granted, he did have to deal with, Mr. FedEx over there, but realistically, Drake London is like a high-end wide receiver 2 guy. You want to know what Darnell Mooney is? A high-end wide receiver 2 guy. And you want to know what Rondale Moore is? A high-end wide receiver 2 guy. None of the guys that they have are truly dominant number ones.
I
I'm not
find
saying
Drake
that-
London is your
I'm
number
not saying
one
that's
guy,
a-
though.
Hold on. Okay, I want to give some thoughts on this, because, look, I love what they have in Bijan and, Algier, and obviously Kyle Pitts, now that he's hopefully not being coached by, freaking Mr. Potato Head himself, he should do a lot better. However, with the wide receiver core, like, I think they have a good receiving core in terms of, like, okay, you got guys that can be productive, like Rondale Moore. He can be a wide receiver 3. I think he's fine at wide receiver 3. Darnell Mooney, if you get like 2021 or 2022 version, yeah, he'll do very well at wide receiver 2. If not, then yeah, you might have a bit of an issue there. Now, Drake London, I like Drake London. I think he's talented, but I don't view him as a wide receiver 1 yet, or like a true number 1 wide receiver. Like, he's talented. I think he's clearly got the talent, but he hasn't gotten a 1,000-yard season yet. I don't think he's a true number 1 receiver yet.
Yeah, and I saw a tweet earlier about, it was like, we haven't acknowledged the Falcons' bad drafting, and it was, Drake London being picked over, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and then somebody else. I can't remember who else it was. I think it was. There was someone else who's not better than Drake London, but either way. Drake London's not a #1 yet, and he's not going to be the #1 you're looking for. And Kyle Pitts, I will say, he is very talented, but he's not put it together yet. And I think, personally, that is due to terrible play calling. And I don't know anything about Zach Robinson. I think that's their OC now.
Yes.
But I just don't think the Falcons offense. I think it'll be pretty exciting to watch, but it's going to be a bad exciting. I don't think it's going to be. I think it'll be a mid offense. And by mid, I mean maybe around the butt end of top 15.
But for me, most part, wide receiver core is just lacking that guy. And you want to know something? When Kirk doesn't have that guy, he struggles. Justin Jefferson was that guy. Stephon Diggs was that guy. Adam Thielen was that guy. They don't have that guy on this team. On the Vikings, he was surrounded by that guy. So many that guys. But in Atlanta, he isn't. Ejon's good. Kyle Pitt, but he's like the only true weapon that doesn't have any question marks on it, because Kyle Pitts has not produced yet. Drake London has not produced yet. Darnell Mooney had a really bad season, and Rondale Moore has been stuck in wide receiver 3 hell, even though he should be a wide receiver 2. So I don't know. It all depends on if Kirk can somehow can elevate these guys. I think this is what needs to be done. And Kirk needs to be an elevator, not a guy that gets you there. He needs to be I mean this genuinely, he needs to be a Jordan Love and not a Brock Purdy. That's what he needs to be.
But the one big elephant in the room also is, you can ask Aaron Rodgers this. All it takes is one bad hit. You're not gonna go an entire season clean. You're not gonna go an entire season without getting hit. Even if your O-line is perfect, you're gonna get hit. One bad hit can fuck up his season.
Yeah, especially with the Achilles injury coming
derails the
off.
Falcons' entire thing.
35 too.
What were you gonna say, Jugger?
Yeah, I was gonna agree with him there, where there's still that Achilles tear concern there, where he's gonna be back from it. But, and yeah, Don, shoot, I forget the 49ers. Don, anyway, just, you can recover from an Achilles tear, but if he doesn't, or he gets hurt again, you know, this whole team, they just slam their Phoenix in the car door.
True. It's just, the Falcons are, I still think the Falcons are the second best team in the NFC North, even though I think they have a way better
NFC
roster.
North?
Not the NFC, God.
It's okay. It's okay.
God. The NFC South, and that's mostly just because, even though I think they have a better roster than the Bucks, you want to know what the Bucks have? The Bucks have an identity and what they're going to be doing going forward. They have a sort of, not drive to say, but they have that something that not everyone else has. I don't feel that with the Falcons. Like, they have a lot of really good guys, but do they have that one guy? I don't know. Baker's that one guy.
I mean, Bucks have proven it. The Falcons haven't yet. The Bucks have that experience, but so far Atlanta, they haven't been able to get over the hump that is 7-10.
Here's another thing. Now, I don't know if you guys look into coaches when they, sign with the team, but here's a really fun fact that has kept me from saying the Falcons are going to be good. Period. Raheem Morris reminds me so much of Dennis Allen, right? And for the fact that he is a damn good defensive coordinator, but every time he's had the opportunity to be a head coach, he's failed. So, Raheem Morris used to be the head coach for the Buccaneers back in like 2010. And he had one good season, one winning season. In 2010, he was 10-6, but he still didn't make the playoffs. The year before that, in 2009, he was 3-13, and the year after that, he was 4-12. He was the interim head coach for Atlanta in 2020, and he went 4-7. He's never been good as head coach. Same with Dennis Allen. He went 4-12, or 3-12, 4-12.
4-12 twice, and then he got fired after 4 games in Oakland.
Yeah.
Then he had 2 average seasons with the Saints.
Yeah, one winning season and another losing season. Now, that's just the facts, though. So Raheem Morris has not proven any way that he could be a good coach, a good head coach. Because you could be good on your side of the ball, but you're in control of the whole team now. And I think he's put some good staff around him. It's just, can he keep that control that he's never had before?
Yeah, can he make it work? Because the thing with his tenure with the Buccaneers is I feel like Raheem was a very raw head coach when he first became coach of the Buccaneers. Because he was in his early 30s. He had just taken over after John Gruden got fired. And yeah, it just definitely felt like a tenure where it's like, okay, this was clearly just a young coach that was clearly just way over his head, just way out of his element here. Now, I know he was also the interim in like 2020 after Dan Quinn got fired, and he went 4-7, which, considering how that Falcons team was, yeah, that's sounds pretty basic, pretty standard for what you expect from an interim taking over that team. So my theme with Raheem is this, because it's like, okay, this is your second true opportunity here. We've seen coaches, they have rough first outings, but in their second outings, they look a lot better. Can Raheem fall into that category, or will he just be another Dennis Allen?
Even though you could say Dennis Allen has looked a lot better than what he did in Oakland.
Yeah.
I mean, easily. He won more games last year in one season than he did in his entire career in Oakland.
Yeah.
And the thing with the Falcons is, looking at how they did in 2023, it's like they were an absolute mess coaching-wise. You had the guy who looks like the freaking Buc-ee's logo just completely ruining your team week in and week out, and you're wasting talent like Bijan and Kyle Pitts, and even then, they still won 7 games, which, I mean, obviously still not a good season, but at the same time, considering the incompetence of who's running the Atlanta Falcons, who's, making this team look like it would just make it so frustrating for fans to have to watch them week in and week out. It's like, if the Falcons can just not trip over themselves, if they can just not trip over themselves as badly as they have these past couple of seasons, then they have a real shot at winning the division.
Personally, I don't like to use the they still won 7 games thing, because I do the same thing with the Saints, and then I realized that both of them had the same exact strength of schedule last year, and they still didn't do nothing with it. So it really just depends on how the coaching does, how Kirk does, if they can find an identity early, because a thing that I've seen with this division is usually the team that's leading in week 3 or week 4 usually wins it.
Yeah.
They need to find their identity early, and they need to stick with it, because the Bucs are really the only team in the division that has their identity.
Yeah, and the thing to note about early starts is also Tampa Bay. These past 2 seasons, they've gotten really hot down the stretch. So for the Falcons, you're really gonna want to start off on the right foot, because we've seen Tampa Bay. They know how, even if they get off the bad starts, which they have before, they know how to get back on track and eventually get back on top of the division. And looking at the Falcons' schedule, I find it so funny, and I know damn well the NFL absolutely knew what they were doing with this. Their Week 1 game is against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is where Arthur Smith is now.
My question is for the Falcons. Are they gonna be US MNT, or are they gonna be an actually competent team, unlike the United States men's national soccer team right now? God, this is off topic, but how did we lose that bad to Colombia? How did we lose that bad to Colombia?
It's very simple. His name is Greg Burl. Ah, shoot, I've mispronounced it. Greg Berhalter, okay? That man is a domestic terrorist.
Like, even Canada has a
Bald,
chance to get
bald
a...
men ruin everything.
Canada
bald
has a chance to get a fucking medal spot.
Yeah.
Oh god, why did we lose to Uruguay? Why? This sucks. Anywho, at least we're better at. Oh wait, no, because we lost to the Japan and
You
we
can't
lost to
say you're
Japan
better
in
at
football.
football because Canada won that
To be fair though,
too.
alright, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Oh, Canada,
The American
our
football
home and
aspect of
native
it-
land.
They nerfed America because it's an under 20 league, right? Like, you're getting guys who
You're probably
couldn't
playing.
get college offers, or guys who got D2 college offers.
Yeah, you're not
Guys who
playing
barely
the
know how to
best.
play the game of football, versus people who actually don't know how to play the game of football.
I think for shits and giggles, next year the USA just sends like a whole team of 5-star recruits and they just maul everybody over.
Just
Honestly,
send
I
in
would've
Tyreek
sent Braylon
Hill.
Allen. I would have sent
Just
Braylon Allen
send
because it's under 20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
He
just send the
turned
schools
20,
of just
I
send the
think.
schools of like IMG Academy or freaking Bishop Gorman just to play. Just do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, when they wanted
Yeah.
Bishop Gordon, they accidentally got Bishop Sycamore.
Lol.
Ah, no, no.
Oh, the Bishop fucking Sycamore. Oh my fucking god.
I think there was a player for Bishop Sycamore on that America team, by the way.
No way, no way.
I think
Come
so, because
on.
while they were still adults, there were some people who were actually kids because they wanted to make the school look real. There were still people who were 18. So, I don't know. I'd have to look into it further, but I thought I saw like a tweet, which I gotta take that with a grain of salt, obviously.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Ah, God. Anywho, back to the Falcons. I'm just gonna say this now. If you don't have an identity, you're gonna be worse than the Saints and the Falcons.
how
5
can they
at
be worse
worst.
than themselves?
I can't believe the Falcons are going to be worse than the Falcons.
Oh my
No.
God! I meant the Bucks.
Only
I
the
meant the
Falcons
Bucks.
could do
Shut up!
that.
Shut up!
Just
Shut up!
Taegan,
Shut up.
Taegan,
Oh.
no,
Anywho,
see,
their
hold on,
ce-
Taegan, hold
Their
on, hold on,
ceiling
hold
is
on.
11. There's
Taegan, hold on. I think because Spencer's not here, you're more relaxed and therefore okay with making mistakes.
What do you mean?
You are flawless when Spencer's here. Second Spencer's not here, I'll give you a couple mistakes here and there.
Oh, shut up! Oh, shut up! Oh, shut up! You Canadian.
No,
Don't,
no,
don't-
no, no, no,
because-
no, 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 oh, no, 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 no. You're more relaxed, so you're more happy to make mistakes. That's why. It's okay. You're okay with mistakes now. Because you don't have
I hope you
Spencer
get-
to rip out your soul for making one small grammatical error.
I hope you get 20 more years of trust in Trudeau.
It sure as hell a lot better than what you're gonna get.
Oh, shut up. Anywho, 5 ceiling, 11 floor, Juggerbear. Get this Canadian out of my face. Mods, kill Canada.
You guys are gonna be
Oh
soon
my-
living in this country, just so
Oh
you
my God.
know.
Yeah, okay, before Taegan and Luke murder each other, I will give my floor and ceiling. Floor, I'll go 6. Ceiling, 11 for the Falcons.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 6-13. I think there's just. It's like I feel like they just need a key to unlock the talents, and I think that I believe that Kirk can do it. I think Kirk has a higher ceiling, and their division, and it's the NFC, and it is a cakewalk division.
I mean, to be fair, when you compare Kirk to what they had last season, considering their quarterbacks last year were Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke, yeah, you'd expect at least some improvement there.
Juggerbear.
And like I said earlier, it just depends on if. Shoot, why am I forgetting his name now?
Kirk?
Kirk, yes. Oh my goodness, I'm having a moment. I'm sorry, guys. If Kirk gets injured, they are
Mr.
totally screwed.
Mister, if
Kirk's
my
healthy-
teammate was gay.
I stand ready.
Yeah, if Kirk's healthy, they'll be fine. Probably around 10 wins or so. If Kirk goes down, I'd say 4.
Valente.
I will fight to my last breath.
He went deafen. Okay. We'll take this for a. No, you're good. You're good.
Look, as much as I'd love to hate on them, I told myself I was gonna be real. I would say they're 4. It all depends on, like Jugger said, if Kirk is injured, I could see them falling flat on their face. And I would say 5 wins is their floor. And, you know, purely based on where their roster, what their roster looks like right now, and everything we do know, I think they have a chance to get 11 wins. Is their ceiling. But this is gonna be the first one that I actually give my official prediction for. I'm gonna say 8 and 9. That's my actual prediction for them. It's 8 and 9.
Reasonable. Anywho, there's no other teams in the NFC South. Unfortunately, there's only 3 teams in this division, as you all know. But say hypothetically there was a 4th team and they were named, I don't know, like a Louisiana like city, like New Orleans, like they were like, I don't know, the Saints. Hypothetically, what are your guys' thoughts and opinions? Let's give it to the 2 Saints fans to start this off.
Derek Carr is getting better. He did have 3,000 passing yards last season.
Our time has
Almost
come.
4,000.
Hey, there we go.
And less than 10.
Bare minimum.
So I mean, he improved from what he did in Vegas the last 2 years. So I mean, right? I'm totally not, you know, compensating for the horrible fails and flops that we've had recently.
You totally don't have a abuser for a running back right now. You totally don't.
All right.
And
hold
Michael Evans is still there. Not Michael Evans. Mike Thomas. God,
on. What about Mike Thomas?
he's still there. Totally.
not.
Don't
not.
read into the media. He's still there. I know. I'm trying to make them remember the good old days. Start bringing up the Drew Brees tape. They need
Oh,
remembrance.
I will never forget the good old days, but you know, shit's so much different now.
Crazy how a missed pass interference had led to you guys having Derek Carr as your quarterback instead of a Super Bowl.
If you want me to be honest, if Drew Brees retired after that, I would be okay with the Derek Carr we would have gotten in 2019. Because I think personally, and this might be a hot take. I think 2021 Derek Carr would have actually won us a playoff game. if we had a different version of Derek Carr, like 2021 or 2020, even I don't know which one it was that had a pretty good year, to the point where people are actually like, hey, he's not that bad. Because I know a couple of Bears fans that whenever before they drafted Justin Fields, and Derek Carr was, I think, a free agent before he re-signed with the Raiders. I knew a couple of Bears fans that were wanting Derek Carr, I would say.
Yeah, I
would
saw
say
some
one-
jersey edits. I saw some jersey edits of Derek Carr in a Bears jersey around that time. I also saw some jersey edits of Carson Wentz in a Bears jersey, so that really says a lot.
God. Don't bring up that word. That is he who shall not be named.
I would consider myself a Derek Carr truther, not an enthusiast. So I'm just gonna be straight up. Derek Carr is levels better than Carson Wentz, and that is an insult to Derek Carr.
I mean, easily Carson Wentz should not be on a football roster. Yet he's backing up the Chiefs, and he has 2 Super Bowl rings now.
He's gonna have a
Keep that in mind. Carson Wentz has 2 Super Bowl rings.
It's ironic that Derek Carr is 10 times a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, but Carson Wentz has the better Hall of Fame portfolio.
I'm still going.
Carson Wentz.
He's not gonna be a Hall of Famer.
The craziest
I know,
thing is
But
too.
he's got the better portfolio and resume for it.
He does, yeah.
The saddest thing about it too. Carson Wentz officially now has more Super Bowl rings than like 50% of NFL franchises right now, and that's incredibly sad.
Well,
He's also
it's
probably
like-
has more rings than like 25% of NBA teams and like 50% of MLB teams.
Yeah,
Or I
he has
might
more
have gotten
rings
them
than Drew
mixed up.
Brees.
I mean, while we're gassing up Carson Wentz, we should really be gassing up Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh,
Because he has more Super
Oh.
Bowl appearances than literally, I believe, over 20 NFL teams.
Not to mention he has a
He
ring
has more
too.
rings. He has 4 rings, I think.
It's
Just
3 or
ignore
4.
how
I think it's
most of those
3.
That was
rings came
2.
from the that however many rings he has came from the Patriots. So
It's only 2.
I think it's 2.
All right, you know what?
Oh.
It's time to have the conversation. Who has a better Hall of Fame resume? Jimmy Garoppolo or Carson Wentz?
Jimmy Garoppolo, man.
I'd say Carson Wentz because of because of a borderline MVP season that he had in his second year, and I think that, like, he was really good.
I'll let Jagger go before me.
yeah, I would say Carson Wentz though. That one really good season he had, along with didn't he win Super Bowl MVP?
No, he was injured. He didn't even play. His ACL
No.
got blown
Oh yeah,
out.
that's right. Shoot, I was thinking of shoot, what's his name?
Nick
Nick
Foles.
Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles. Yeah, the entire time I was thinking.
Their
Nick Foles.
legend. Anywho, I think it's Jimmy Garoppolo, man. I mean, he at least lasted longer on the Niners than the Carson Wentz did with the Eagles.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Nickman.
Neither of them are making the Hall of Fame, but if I had to pick one, it's probably Jimmy Garoppolo, just because he's played so much more, and he's actually made the Super Bowl as a starter.
Yeah.
Gun to the back of your
y'all
head.
Are asking
Name-
me, hold on, y'all are asking me about who I should nominate between Wentz and Garoppolo, and between those two, I hereby nominate Nathan Peterman.
Peter Meme.
Saints
Woo! I'm gonna say this right now. If we're gonna talk about like who has the better like Hall of Fame resume, I want to hear your opinions. Who has the better Hall of Fame resume between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh McCown?
Fitzpatrick, right?
I think it's Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick by a mile.
Systems online. 10 seconds.
But back to the Saints.
5.
This team, I feel, has been running away from the cap space for a very long time now, and I'm just gonna say it, Mickey Loomis, count your days. There are trained cap assassins coming after you after what you've done to that team.
So, not even gonna beat around the bush for this. I used to love Mickey Loomis, right? I used to be so in love with the fact that he could push back this money and get away with it. And you know, people are always like, well, salary cap doesn't exist. Yes, it does. You can push the salary cap back to 2028. It's gonna hit you eventually. And I don't know how this works, but I was so scared at one point that he was gonna push the salary cap back so far that he wouldn't be able to field a team. And we'd have to like miss an entire season or something like that.
The Saints want to be the Yankees so bad, but then they realize that they can't pay luxury taxes.
But I will say this. The Chiefs have, what, 9 primetime games this year? Something like that? In the NFL, you know, as much as I like to claim the NFL hates the Saints, they are very much helping the Saints right now. Because let's be honest, a lot of people hate Taylor Swift, especially in the NFL. A lot of people hate Taylor Swift in the NFL. But I love Taylor Swift in the NFL for the fact that the Saints are $30 million less in debt than they were last year. And it's going to be probably even more. Because a lot of the revenue came in from Taylor Swift being at Chiefs games. The Swifties. So hey,
Yep.
you could give the Chiefs primetime games on every channel, every Sunday. And I wouldn't care until we get out of cap hell.
And I've been joking about the whole Taylor Swift thing for a while now, though. But she and Nvidia are the only things keeping the American economy together. So we should be thanking Swift for what she's doing. She's a true American patriot.
Yeah.
Did you just
that's right.
fucking say Nvidia? You did not just say it.
I mean, they're literally the entire S&P 500.
Hey, yeah, I just want to say Nvidia tagged the inflation from graphics cards and stuff like that. And I'm not a PC guy, even though I got a PC recently. I don't know all this stuff like that. But the inflation for a 4080 Super or a 4090 is saving the American economy.
Confirmed.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna rope that into the, you might as well rope that the Leapfrog company. I forget their Logitech. Yes, we need to rope Logitech into them because they're still pumping out a lot of very much preschool education garbage to this day. But I think Logitech is a good way to describe the Saints. Ruining a generation.
Say that one more time.
Ruining a generation.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. Like, as long as Mickey Loomis isn't making the decisions, I'm not gonna say he's as bad as David Tepper is an owner, but he is probably one of the dumbest GMs in the entire league. Even though he was very good at kicking the can down the road while our Super Bowl window was quote-unquote still open. But he's kept doing it, as we've statistically gotten worse every year. And I don't understand, like, why. Because he's got better with it this
LSU is
year.
more profitable. Maybe that's what. Maybe LSU isn't as profitable as it used to be, so it doesn't
LSU
really
is
have the
way more
money.
profitable.
Oh damn.
I don't think
Well,
he,
then I
don't
guess
think
I'm
he
just
runs
crazy.
LSU, though.
Oh.
I don't think
I was just gonna say, they loan out the stadium to them, though. Don't the Saints own the Caesar Superdome?
No,
Really?
well, yeah, the Saints do own the Caesar Superdome in like some sort of way. It's weird. It is the city's stadium, but it is their stadium also. So they fund part of the
So it's like the
building.
Bears situation, where the Bears don't own Soldier Field; they just rent it out, basically.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
which that's a whole
Alright.
other ordeal because the Saints are behind on payments for the Superdome because they want a lease to stay in the city. It's weird. It's like Alvin Kamara's contract situation right now. He is holding out because he wants to stay in New Orleans, and he wants to be paid a fair contract because he was one of the him, Derrick Henry, some other guys. I think Saquon was one of them too. Were three big guys in the pay running backs fairly ordeal from last year. The way I'm completely like going off on random tangents, but the way I'd compare the Saints situation with the Superdome is what Alvin Kamara is doing right now.
Yeah. But getting back to like the whole like Mickey Loomis thing, because my issue with Mickey is not the like kicking the thing down the road, because it's like, look, you can do if you're a GM, if you run things, like you can do what you want, as long as I am seeing things working out, or at least things improving for a team year in and year out. It's like, okay, you know what? It might be weird what you do, but at least it works. The problem is, what Mickey's doing hasn't been working. It hasn't worked for years now, and right now, the Saints have been stuck in a situation where it's like, why do you guys just not blow it up already? Why are you guys wanting to just
That's
keep
what
on
I've been
being
asking for years,
mediocre?
man.
Like, just blow it up, my guy!
Yeah.
I mean, what's the fun of blowing it up when we can trot out a 37-year-old true-born American Christian Derek Carr for us to lead the Saints to the way of victory for God as Jesus intended? But I don't know what the Saints are like actually trying to do. My thing is, and what I'm thinking is, they're trying to get a situation where I think it was 2010, where there was no cap space for that year. I think they're waiting for that situation to where once that win open and they can just, pay everyone right there and then. I think that's what they're hoping for, but like, that's not gonna happen. Like, that was like a one-time thing.
I think the biggest blessing for the Saints cap space that could potentially not save them, but could give them another year of trickery with the cap is the separate quarterback salary cap, because I believe over the next 2 seasons after this season, Derek Carr is eating up our cap like a lot. I think he's getting paid with the way that we restructured his contract this year. He's getting paid $45 million next year or something like that. And if you have a separate QB salary cap, then maybe you could pull off some more trickery. I don't know. But I personally, I don't think anything. You can have as much money as you want. I don't think any of that matters as long as Dennis Allen is our head coach.
Oh man, I've been waiting for the Dennis Allen gets fired so badly.
He's been waiting for that tweet since like January 2nd. We haven't told him that he can't be fired yet. So don't let Juggerbear know that the NFL season's starting soon and that he probably won't be fired.
Yeah, I think
what was it that you
getting fired during the season.
What was it that you tweeted like the day after the Saints beat them? Like, oh my god, the Saints have won, so they can't fire Dennis Allen anymore. Who has it worse than Saints fans right now?
Bro.
It was something like that. I was talking about Juggerbear. Who has it worse
forgot.
than the Saints?
I said something
Probably the
similar to
Panthers, to be honest. They're just screwed.
Nah,
Although the
it's
true
just you always.
true pain in sports though is being a Yankees fan.
Oh, my bad. I forgot. It's so hard being a privileged organization with over 20 championships.
If I'm being honest, I would
And half
personally,
of those are won before integration.
I would take 3 NFC Championship chokes year in, year out, than being in this purgatory of mid what we're in right now.
I mean, you technically did have that when, like, from like 2015 to like 2019 to like 2020.
Yeah, but you get the point though, right? I mean, it was at least fun.
No, I
mean,
get
right
you.
now we're not even like generating any sort of entertainment. So much so that the season ticket like offices are begging fans to renew, and they're quote unquote claiming that the waiting list is really long. It's not. It's really not.
The waiting list is long. It sounds like I'm pretty sure like Dan Snyder did something like that. Like he did something with like Washington, like where he said, "Yeah, there's such a long waiting list," and then it turns out there wasn't a waiting list.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business. I can understand why they're doing that. But when you have to do that, that's when you know you're in for like your dog days. I guess you could say.
Yeah. The Saints won't be a good football team until they blow up. And right now, I'm starting to think, along with a couple other teams in the NFL, they're starting to become what the Bills were in the 2010s. Completely complacent with being 7-10, 9-8, with, you know, just barely missing out on the playoffs and, barely just almost upsetting teams to get them out of the playoffs. Like, they're starting to become like the new age Bills, while the Bills are starting to become the Saints in the 2010s. Except the only reason why the Bills haven't won anything yet is that there hasn't been a natural disaster hitting Buffalo yet. So, to all the fans of Buffalo, you better hope for a very scary and deadly snowstorm. Otherwise, that Super Bowl is not coming.
But even then, you'd have to wait 4 years. So. But going back to what you said earlier about no one has it worse than Saints fans, I tweeted something after that Falcons game. I'm like, the Saints are really the only team that could win a game 48-17 with the playoffs on the line, still not make the playoffs, and their shit head coach still come back. I said something along those lines. That was one of the worst days of my life, and ironically one of the best days of my life. Just
I mean, for us Bears fans and Seahawks fans, the rest of us in here, it was horrible for Seattle because they won a basically meaningless game. And for Bears fans, we still cannot beat the goddamn Green Bay Packers. But I'm going to save that rant for when it's like 6 weeks from now and we're doing the NFC. But we've been talking about the offense a lot. I just kind of want to move over to the defense, and I only really have one thing to say about it. I would not be surprised if Cam Jordan was traded away to a contender this year. I would not be surprised.
I would. I don't think Cam Jordan is looking for. I don't think he's looking to run Jace because I think he sees New Orleans as more of a home for him than just a destination where he's working. You know, I mean, he's been there his entire career. You know, there's certain guys that don't go off and run Chase. I don't think he.
Right, but everyone.
I don't think he wants to be traded. I believe he could be traded just because Mickey Loomis has no idea what he's doing, but I don't see him wanting to be traded.
Right, but at the same time, everyone said that about Von Miller, and now look where Von Miller happened. He went to the Rams, won a Super Bowl, and now he's probably just a completely talentless hack on the Buffalo Bills. Now, I'm not saying that they're both the same player, but, like, I think Cam Jordan's getting into his ring-chasing days, and, like, every player does it at one point. Julio did it this last season with the Eagles. Like, we now have a new graphic to put on the Celtic Shack highlight. Like, we already had Matt Ryan Colts on there. We might as well add Julio Jones Eagles on there. Because at least you can say with the Saints, he just wanted to play closer to home. But, like, he went to the Eagles to win a ring. But, other than that, like, I don't know. I feel like the ring chasing is very possible for Cam Jordan. I feel like that's possible for a lot of the defensive pieces, like Marshawn Lattimore. He's very prone. He could be very prone to ring chasing. Demario Davis, you know, you got him from the Jets, and like he's getting really, really old. So like, if a team really needs a good linebacker, I wouldn't be surprised if he got traded away for like a fourth. Like,
By the way, looking at
the
their
Saints-
defense, look at the Saints defense. Hello, Chase Young.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
that'll save the Saints.
Wait,
I was writing an article yesterday, and I basically the article is I'm predicting the 53-man roster post minicamp, and I'm doing it again during training camp. But I almost left Chase Young off of the defensive ends because every time I see his name, I'm like, oh yeah, Chase Young's a Saint. I've forgotten every time. There's never been a time where I've talked about our defense and Chase Young's name comes up.
it's weird. But like, other than that, like, I do think we've hit it on the nail. The New Orleans Saints, they are certainly a team of all time. If I had to like give them a true and accurate ceiling, eight's their floor, nine's their ceiling.
That's honestly being nice. With the floor, at least.
No. You need to say that the Chiefs, I mean that the Saints are going 17-0. That's what every Saints fan should say. They're going 17-0, man. We're gonna win the Super Bowl.
No,
But,
I would do that. I would do that. But once you see, I became a Saints fan in 2016, so I saw one bad year before I started seeing 11-5, 13-3, 12-4, whatever.
Minneapolis
But
Miracles.
But then once you see multiple average and then bad seasons in a row, you barely even want to say you're making the playoffs. I'm not even going. It's never even crossed my mind that they can go 17-0.
Well, what is your floor and ceiling then?
Floor, and I feel like I've said this about every NFC South team, but that's just how they are. I'd say their floor is 5 wins, and that is if Clint Kubiak turns out to be horrible. He doesn't learn anything from Kyle Shanahan. Clint Kubiak, the offense falls flat because a lot of the reason we did so bad last year is because it took us 14 weeks to find any offensive identity. So if it takes another 14 weeks to do that, I could see us being as bad as 5-12, because the schedule is not as easy as it was last year. And the ceiling, I would say 10 wins. If that offense does look good, I could see them becoming a top 15 offense maybe. If the defense doesn't regress, if Cam Jordan plays just a tiny bit better than he did last year, if Marshawn Lattimore stays healthy, if Paulson Adebo stays at the same level or better than what he was last year, if Chase Young decides to actually play like he's seen a football before, because he acts like he's the moment he left Washington, he felt like, or the way that I've seen it, I think I would say the moment he left Washington and went to San Francisco, I feel like he thought that everything was going to be gifted to him. I felt like he thought he was going to get a ring right there. So his motor, gone. Ever since his rookie season, his motor's been gone. So if he can find his motor that he's been lacking since 2020, I think he could be a decent rotational piece. If Brian Brzee stays consistent, if he doesn't get hurt, he'll be good. I feel like a lot of the things Saints fans say is if they don't get hurt, because that's just how it is for us. If I haven't seen a Saints team without Michael Thomas yet, so I don't know what that's going to look like. If Derek Carr doesn't fall flat, the offense should be at least decent. If Cam Jordan can stay on the field, because I've always said that they're never going to trade Cam Jordan just because of the presence he brings to the locker room. He's a great mentor. Carl Granderson wouldn't be as good as he is if it wasn't for Cam Jordan. Same with Trey Hendrickson for the Bengals now. If Tyrann Mathieu still somehow finds a way at his 33 years of age to play like he did last year, the secondary would be good. I think the old age for the defense is gonna hit us at some point. But again, Dennis Allen is damn good on defense. And he's made it work every year so far. Now, I know I'm yapping, but still, I'm just gonna say 10 wins is the ceiling.
All of these ifs comes up to, oh wow, we got 3 games over 500, and we might have a shot at the NFC South.
They're not
The
as
Saints
big
are
ifs.
truly poverty.
I mean,
They're not as big ifs as they are. I just say if because you never know, right? Shit could happen.
I think my thing with
Juggerbear.
Mm-hmm.
What is your floor and ceiling?
I don't know, my inner pessimist says this team is just gonna be floating within like 1 or 2 wins above or below 500. But I really love the 10-win optimism. But I'm an inner pessimist. I just don't see that happening, but you never know.
Luke, what were you saying?
my thing with the Saints is
Consequences, survival likely.
I'm very mixed on the Saints, but I feel like this is the year that if everything hits the fan, the Saints are going to be forced into a rebuild. And I think if they have a good year, they're just gonna lull themselves like say even like an 8 or a 9-win season. I feel like they're still gonna have a delusion upon themselves that yes, we're still competitive. They need a bad season to.
Yeah, I agree, man.
I agree with that too. Yeah.
They need a bad season for the sake of the franchise. They
Yeah,
just,
for the future.
I don't want to be an ass and say, oh look, you're gonna be bad, but you're gonna need to show something more than just your mediocre selves if they want to really do much.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna happen though. It's tough. Football's tough. I feel like Mickey Loomis you keep on pushing down the salary cap. It doesn't work as well as you think it's going to work. At some point, it's gonna bite you in the ass, and I think the Saints have an opportunity to where you can have that bad year, and because you can finally have that bad year, you're gonna allow yourself to really reap the rewards of a talented draft class. Now, this may not be the year to tank per se, but by the time couple years down the line, and again, college football is one crazy landscape. You can really get that guy. Even this year, if things don't go well, Shedeur Sanders is available. Right? As much as, in Colorado, this is a guy that could start in the NFL. He's ego aside, he's got talent in the NFL. But can they get that? I don't know.
I don't think the Saints would tank. I believe Mickey Loomis is too stubborn to do that.
They're all too
Dennis Allen
stubborn.
is definitely too stubborn to do that. I mean, I think honestly Mickey Loomis is getting tired of the mediocrity, and that's why last year was almost the year that Dennis Allen got, fired into the sun. Which I hope to see that. I would pay a lot of money to see Dennis Allen get fired into the sun. Um, but I think finally when Dennis Allen does get fired, and hey, if Dennis Allen ends up doing good, that looks good for us because we have one more playoff run, whether that be a loss in the wildcard round, maybe one win. I don't know. I get one more year of enjoyment. But if that rebuild comes, let's say next season, I finally get some peace knowing that Dennis Allen is gone, and Mickey Loomis probably gets the promotion that gets him out of making the football decisions. Because I think Mickey Loomis's promotion was, or he was gonna get a promotion that, I guess didn't come about. It was, I don't know if Jugger knows what I'm talking about, but it was a promotion that would have made him vice president of something.
Football operations. It's basically
Basically,
fired via promotion.
Yeah. It was basically being fired via promotion because he wouldn't be making all of
Like
the
calling decisions, right?
all of the decisions like
Yeah.
hiring
Yeah.
and stuff like that. There was some big promotion he was gonna get that would have made Kai Harley the GM, which is the guy who's been making some of the better contracts that we've seen recently. Like, I think there was one contract last year that looked really good, and it was Kai Harley's thing. I don't know, but the moment I see Mickey Loomis not in control of what goes on in our football team, and the moment I see Dennis Allen not on our football team, I would be okay with a rebuilding from that point because I've never seen a rebuild, and I know rebuilds are tough, but all it takes is one good draft class. So hopefully,
I mean, I want to use the unfortunate news. The Saints already may have used that perk already. They had an incredible 2018 draft class. That was absolutely
17, yeah.
amazing. Sorry.
and to be honest, even though that wasn't a rebuild, that took them from mediocre to really good. Because they had like 4 mediocre years before that. I think. Or not 4, but it was like 2 or 3, something like that. But honestly, I would say they had a pretty good draft class this year, at least on paper.
I mean,
What was your ceiling again, Luke? Floor and ceiling?
I'm giving him 4. You're praying to God at 6. Because, you know, that's going to be the season that, oh, hey, we're going to tank finally. But I fear it's probably going to look like an 8-win season. I feel like it's the floor is 8, their ceiling is 9. Nothing wows me for the Saints. They don't wow me at all. Even in their incredibly weak division. I hope for the best for this team, but like they're not gonna get the best. I think this is gonna be the year where they're finally dragged kicking and screaming into a rebuild. And I hope so, but we'll see what happens. And another note, the Saints, the next team to be sold in the NFL probably is the Saints.
Or the Panthers, hopefully.
Oh no, Jerry Richardson's not selling the team.
Tepper's not selling the
So
team.
David Tepper's not selling the team at all.
Now look, I'm gonna be honest. I've gotten into a lot of arguments about the ownership with a bunch of other people before because of certain scandalous things that happened with the owner and a very famous religious church.
The church is gonna save Carolina? That would be awesome!
I would say my standpoint on the ownership, I'm just gonna get out of the way. I do not like our ownership. And I feel a lot of it is because I don't like when it gets passed down. So the ownership the owner was originally Tom Benson, and it was passed down to his wife or widow, whatever you'd call it, because he died. She's not been the best owner ever since, especially because she's kind of using the Saints to do some very bad things. And she's used the Saints PR team to cover some, to quote unquote cover certain things up. I don't know if anything ever came out of that, but that's not something you want to get your business into.
Yeah,
So I would hope,
I hear that. I hear that.
I would hope they would sell that Gale would sell the team to somebody.
I mean,
That at least
if the
cares
rumors
about-
are true, my source on this is 5 points, and according to the video that this is what I'm going off of, he did note that it feels like the Saints are going to be the next team that gets sold.
I hope, because I would really like an owner that cares more about, not more about, because I understand money makes the world go around, especially for rich people. I want an owner that actually cares about the game as well, and not just all about money and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Off topic, but Will Smith just must really love VTubers because he's hit 3 home runs today.
Oh, tonight's the VTuber night?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Juggerbear, you don't know how upset I am. I'm a Mariners fan, and I wanted this in Seattle. Cause like the main I watch VTubers. I'm not gonna shy away from it. And I thought it would have been so cool if, you know, cause you know if we signed Shohei, we would have gotten this perk. And how cool would this perk been if we would have signed Ohtani? Think of like the marketing. Like it's this Shohei Ohtani effect. It's what happens when you sign him. The greatest player in baseball, as of right now. It's the effect it's gonna have. And the Dodgers are reaping it. I wish the Mariners would have reaped it. Stanton, sell the team. I'm kind of pissed about that, man.
That's the one thing I don't like about baseball, is because there's like no salary cap, right?
I
And
mean,
like,
there's
all
no
the
salary
big
cap, but there
markets-
is a salary cap though with the luxury tax though, where
It's what
yeah,
the
you
owner's
can't
willing
spend
to
like Steve
spend on.
Cohn, but for every dollar you go over the salary cap, if I'm correct, goes to like a kind of slush fund that goes to all the smaller market teams though. So let's say Steve Cohn spends, you know, infinite money on all the players. Well, he's gonna have to spend all the infinite money that he went over the salary cap, not the salary cap, the luxury tax, to all the other teams.
You know, see, I thought that Cincinnati could be mid just because they're a small market.
No, and
Just
again,
the
a lot of
Dodgers
the
who,
small market teams, I feel, are they have to budget things out because again, these guys, it's not like baseball of old where you could be bad, but you could still fill the stadium up, right? On like a weekday on a school night, tickets are $10. You still can't fill the stadium up with with at least 4,000 people. Not
I
even
mean, to be
half.
fair, I wouldn't want to watch the White Sox, so.
Oh no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I
And to
think
be
all
fair
we
with
get from
baseball, like my big issue, like I think the big issue isn't even really like, you know, like yeah, it doesn't have a salary cap, but at least has, you know, the luxury tax. Like the big issue I feel like is the fact that in baseball right now, there's no salary floor. Like there's no floor in baseball right now, and you know, it basically means like, well, you know, you don't have any plans, or you know, you're really that incompetent, well, you can lower, you know, your payroll to as low as you possibly want to see.
Like, no team should be. And again, it's what's going to kill the sport. And I've said this over and over again, right? Baseball's going to be at the point where I feel like you could contract a third of the league and you wouldn't miss them. You wouldn't miss them at all because they just don't want to fund a competitive team. And if you don't want to fund a competitive team, why are you owning a team in this sport? Especially this sport is dying. And I think you're going to get, you know, one of two ways. I think there's going to be another country that takes full advantage of it. I would say Japan, but right now they're going through kind of their own stuff right now.
Though, where they're just not having kids.
Yeah.
I mean,
And if you
also
have no kids, you
too.
don't have a baseball team.
Also, too, the talent isn't that great. I just saw the other day there was a bunt home run in the Korean baseball.
Well, I
league.
said Japan, not Korea, but Japan has been known as like
Right.
quad A. Essentially, it's quad A.
But, yeah.
Don't like the Korean leagues is different from Japan. Like Japan is quad A, and and I'm just saying
Korea
if
kind of compared to AAA.
yeah, North Korea's probably
That's north.
Sorry, South Korea.
North Korea
I
is
think
like super duper MOP. Like they're having Goku out there.
I think another thing too is you just have.
Do you think
South...
Goku could get the people in Mexico into baseball?
Mexico's like A-level baseball. You got Trevor Bauer putting up just stupid numbers. I mean, the thing that pisses me, like again, like we're gonna get into a whole Trevor Bauer thing, but I wish Trevor Bauer would try AAA. I want to see him in AAA, but I don't think he wants to sign a minor league contract. He wants to sign a major league contract, but...
I mean, even if he gets a minor league contract, though, it's just gonna cause such a media circus. What's the name of the guy that took the knee a couple years
Kaepernick,
ago?
yeah, that's
It's really just Kaepernick too, though, where you have this like charismatic guy who is he talented? Yes, but not talented enough to overcome the drama of getting a contract.
Well, even then, it's if Trevor Bauer dominates, I think it's just gonna silence a lot of people.
Yeah.
I just wish he would put his. You know, like he just actually like go for it. Like, you know, it's like, okay, no one's like, just give, like, you know, as Luke said, just give like AAA or something a shot. Like, you know, just go for it.
You never know. Like, again, if you are good at what you can do, and by the way, he's probably already warmed up in mid-season form. He's like his stuff is on par. Like, he's got good things, and if teams are shying away, it's because, you know, his, you know, stuff at momentum. I mean, as unfortunate as it is to say, I think there's more of a reason to say that, you know, Eric Sim have seen so much of Trevor Bauer. He knows his stuff like the back of his hand.
By the way, I can't wait to use that image of Eric when the Dodgers lose in the playoffs. I can't wait to use that.
I was about to say I've never heard the term mid-season form used in a good way before.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. But Trevor Bauer, he's already eligible. He's already ready to help a team out. He's got his stuff. His stuff is on point. It's only going to get better. He's not showing any rust. I just wish he would get an actual shot, because man's been cleared. The man's been cleared. I just wish someone would give him a chance. But
Yeah.
you know.
By the way, I'll give my. By the way, so we could finish up the whole predictions, the floor and ceiling stuff. For the Saints, my floor for New Orleans is 5 wins. Like, I can see a scenario where the Saints are just that team that implodes. They implode, and they are that team that, you know, some people imagine won't be good, but they're not the one you expect to just be, like, you know, the worst team in the league. But I could see a scenario where it goes down that route. But I feel like 5 wins in terms of the floor is probably a lot more appropriate for them, because they feel like the Saints feel like the very ugly to watch kind of team that could go 5-12. Now, in terms of ceiling, Saints are also the very ugly kind of team that can go 9-8. And I just feel like with the Saints, their current situation and how much it feels like, you know, they just feel like a very boring football team to watch. Like, I just feel like 9-8 would be the perfect ceiling for them. But yeah.
I think if everything goes according to plan, they can squeeze out that 10th win. But yeah, you're on the money there, Nick.
Yeah.
My optimism
Anywho.
side, my optimism side always says, well, I mean, Dennis Allen has improved every year, so I mean, you know, and then my pessimist side and my realistic side also says, you never know with Dennis Allen.
Anywho, that was the NFC South. We'll do pick'ems right now for Jugger and
Someone's
Vente.
gonna.
Pick'ems is
Hey, Taegan, do you have access to the document?
I do on my phone. Okay,
Because
so for pick'em,
if you just click on the stream, you can see I'm kind of in the middle of something.
no. I get you.
Yeah.
So basically, what pick'ems are is that right now we're picking the Canadian Football League because we pick all the football games that come out.
We did
So,
the entirety of the
coming-
UFL.
Yeah. So coming up for the CFL, we have the BC Lions versus the Hamilton. I forget their names.
Tiger Cats.
Tiger Cats.
Hamilton
No,
Tiger
Taegan, you're on
Cats.
you're on Calgary versus Montreal. It's Calgary versus Montreal.
Yeah, it's the first
Oh,
one.
Calgary
Calgary.
versus. Oh, my bad. Calgary versus Montreal. What do you pick, Juggerbear?
I don't know. I'm going with the Tiger Cats. I don't know any of these teams.
Oh
but
shit, Montreal's
Tiger Cats
kind of
sounds
just
cool.
kicking everybody's ass right now. So the big thing about Montreal is they're kind of like they got their starting quarterback there. They got a bunch of crazy talented wide receivers. Like if you want to see like a really good team, like a good matchup in the CFL, is there one that's like really exciting? I would say Saskatchewan, Montreal, but their starting quarterback is down. Fuck, there's not one happening for a while. Shit. But if it, you know.
The enemy is attacking.
But yeah, Montreal's really good. They just kicked the shit out of Ottawa, like 49-19 or something like that. Montreal's damn good. Montreal's very good. Calgary, they're nice, but they don't have that. They don't have that. So.
But what do you pick the Tiger Cats, right?
Symbiote
Jugger?
implanted.
Yeah, because they have a cool name.
Augmented.
Gotcha. Valente?
What is the game again?
Calgary versus Montreal.
Okay, so I have the CFL website on my screen right now, and if I was a betting man, which I am, but I'm not gonna bet on this, I would say Montreal just because they're 4-0.
Gotcha. I will go with Montreal as well. Nickman?
Yeah, I'm going Montreal.
I wrote down.
Luke?
I wrote down Montreal. I've already written down my picks for the document, but yeah, I got Montreal.
Alrighty. Coming up next, one sec, I'm getting these inputted. Coming up next, we have BC versus Hamilton.
Enemy payload fired.
Juggerbear.
Again, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just gonna guess BC.
Hell yeah. Valente.
Let's say BC.
You have been slain.
I will go with BC as well. Nick.
Yeah, I'll go BC.
Alrighty. Up next, we have Saskatchewan versus Ottawa. Jugger.
Do note Saskatchewan's quarterback is Shea Patterson.
No, that's Saskatchewan, just because I just like the area of Saskatchewan. Never been, just fun to say.
Gotcha. Valente.
Yeah, I agree. That is a very fun word, Saskatchewan. Sounds very
I will-
badass.
I-
I'm going with them.
I will go with Saskatchewan as well. Nickman.
Wait, just to make sure, when I'm looking for like, wait, hold on. When is this game happening
Thursday.
again? Because I'm just like making sure we got the right.
Oh, did I fuck up?
I'm just making sure we got like the right schedule
Holy
here.
shit, I might have fucked up.
Yeah, since Saskatchewan already played Toronto.
What are we? Shit,
Saskatchewan
it's
versus
supposed to be Calgary and Winnipeg. It's supposed to be Calgary and Winnipeg.
Yeah, because week 6 says there is a
did I
Toronto versus
vote?
Montreal, and yeah,
It's supposed to be-
Calgary and Winnipeg.
Whoops.
We're doing it live.
Hey, I did this like a month ago. I filled out what I could. I'm going to make a mistake.
I know. Be glad
But what-
Spencer isn't here.
I know. Spencer's gonna
What
use...
did you choose? What do you choose, Nickman, for Saskatchewan versus Ottawa?
Actually,
Well, I mean, I don't think they're not playing each other, but if I had to pick between those two, I'd go.
oh wait, it's
Rough
Edmonton.
Riders.
It's Edmonton. It's Edmonton versus Ottawa. It's Edmonton versus Ottawa.
Oh,
Okay, I'm changing mine to Edmonton.
God.
Are you
Nickman,
sure?
let me change yours.
Yeah, it's what it says
I'm-
for week 6.
Okay.
I'm
still
more
taking
than.
on.
I
Okay.
am the strongest Edmonton soldier. Nickman, join me in this glorious battle.
Fine, I'll join.
Yes. And lastly, we have Winnipeg versus Calgary. Juggerbear.
Repeat that.
Winnipeg versus Calgary.
I'm going with Winnipeg because I like the Winnipeg Jets more than the Calgary Flames, so that'll probably translate to CFL pretty well.
Reasonable. Valente.
I'm going based off of what their logos look like, and personally, I'd say the Calgary logo looks like the SMU logo, and the Winnipeg logo looks like the Washington logo. So, if Washington played SMU in college football, I would say Washington. So I'm gonna go with Winnipeg.
Alright, I'm going with Calgary. Nickman.
I'll go to Blue Bombers.
Gotcha.
Who's that one quarterback?
Well-
we got the CFL
well, we're
versus the XFL. Who was that in like week 17? Chris Traveler. Yeah, Chris Traveler is going to be starting for the Blue Bombers.
Anywho, we are starting to wrap up here, but before we wrap up, it is our annual shill time for our guests for sitting down and talking with us so long. I'll have Valente go first. You have 30 seconds, shill whatever.
Sorry, say that again.
You have 30 seconds to shill whatever you want. YouTube, anything, shill away.
Well, on YouTube, you can find me at Valente Talk Saints. If it wasn't obvious by the name, I like to talk about anything Saints, whether it be hype videos, weekly rants after a Dennis Allen loss, or maybe even being surprised after a win. On Twitter at VTalkSaints, I literally talk about anything, which is probably weird considering my name is VTalkSaints and not VTalks Everything. Yeah, that's it.
Alrighty, and lastly but not least, Juggerbear, shill away.
Shoot, you could. I'm not sure if I should show my Twitter or not though, because it's. I don't know. I just don't feel like showing it though. But just buy a Juan Soto jersey so we can please re-sign him.
Oh yeah, I know. I follow you on Twitter.
Follow Juggerbear on number one Juan
Technically,
Soto lover.
You can't
Hey,
follow.
that is
You
not a
can't
real
technically. You can't follow him. His Twitter got suspended.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
turns
his
out you're
Twitter.
not allowed to joke with your friends anymore. You know,
I don't know. I feel like the
No.
Twitter ban hammer is just
random.
You put a blindfold and you wail away. Like I've seen people like Aiden threatens people every fucking day. No offense to Aiden, and he's not banned yet.
But
No offense to Aiden,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I guess if anyone does
I don't
want
know.
to follow it, it is Arctos. It's a Greek word, so I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it. Spelled @S_hoplite. You should probably pronounce that HOPLITE, capital A, capital H. If anyone ever wants to follow that, you don't want to follow that.
You don't. But it seems,
You do want to follow that for every good Jocko American morning. I better get the three of us, the five of us better get a specialized good Jocko American morning tomorrow. But that'll wrap it up for the show today. Of course, I'm Bears fan alongside Juggerbear and Valente are two good guests. MaskedAura, Nick, say your things.
I fucked up
I-
on the pickups. God damn it, I'm gonna have to redo a bunch. Fuck.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah. God damn it, I'm gonna have to redo a bunch. You know what I'm thinking? I'm just gonna get ahead, get all the CF out of the season. But no. I have ADD, so, I can be kind of forgiven. But fuck. Anyways, bye.